You are about to see a Fix It Friday video where an person with very little technical skill or knowledge would attempt to fix something. This is not a how-to video and is likely to be factually incorrect and at times possibly dangerous. Please don't copy Kip and see this video for limited entertainment purposes only. Roll titles!
Hello, welcome to the channel if it's your first time here, and welcome back if it's not. Now in today's video we will be looking at this. Well, more specifically the contents of this box. And it is a Game Gear, and it is a faulty Game Gear. So that's why it's a Fix It Friday. Apparently this comes on briefly and then powers off. Now I think, I'm pretty certain, that it's something to do with the capacitors. Game Gears have very bad capacitors in them and they fail quite spectacularly. So yeah, this probably will turn into a bit of a recapping episode, but I don't really know until I've actually got it apart and having a good look at it. So we'll see what's going on. So first of all, I've got to get it out of the box. Well, this is nicely packaged. Delightful. Here we've got our Game Gear. I love that. This is very clearly original. Yeah, and someone probably got a SEGA magazine back in the late 80s, early 90s with a Sonic sticker, stuck it on there proudly. So yeah, the screen's a bit scratched up. Not the end of the world. It's got the external port cover, which is good. And these guys here were, for amongst other things, putting in a stand for the Game Gear TV adapter. So the Game Gear would sort of stand at an angle like that so you could watch TV on it hands-free, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's very clean, that's good. Usually people leave their batteries in here to go rotten and decay, but no, it looks lovely and clean in there. Excellent. Yeah, the only thing that I've noticed, which was actually mentioned on the auction, is a little chunk missing there by the D-pad. Doesn't really make too much difference. But yeah, it's all right really. Does seem to be a little bit of dust between the glass and the screen as well. Yeah, it's an honest example of a Game Gear from the period. It's pretty good. Right, well, let's put some batteries in and see what it's doing. I did think maybe it probably needs recapping on the power board at the very least, but I think it's going to need recapping all over, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll try recapping the power board to start with maybe and see if that brings it into life, and then go from there really. Right. Super Off-Road, which is a game I absolutely love. I love the arcade version of it as well. Right, what's it going to do? Watch very carefully. Might only come on for a second, it might not come on at all. What do we reckon? Oh, interesting. And yeah, the screen came to life as well. Okay, I'm glad it does something at least, and the screen does sort of spring into life, so I'm feeling that it is definitely capacitor related. It's switching on and the capacitors are just like and just not wanting to do anything. So I guess we've got to get this open and see what's going on. I did get a power board cap kit from Retro 6, and it also comes with the IC and a couple of other components that are on the board as well. So, you know, I can give it a proper seeing to? No, not seeing to. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they're sort of Phillips head screws, and then we've got a Game Bitty screw here. Now, before I crack this open, please do give this video a like and maybe subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing maybe a few videos on this, and I've got lots of fun fixes of all sorts of things that you might find interesting. and hopefully you'll find some of my other videos interesting too. And instead of making you watch me take this apart in real time, I'm going to speed through it, and while I do it, I'm going to give a shout out to all those people who've gone one step further than subscribing, which is free by the way, and they have actually joined the channel. Now joining the channel costs from 99p a month, and you can join for 1 month, you can join for many months. It's completely up to you, and you can join at different levels and choose the level of support that you want to give, and in return you get a few little cheeky extras from me. Not those cheeky extras, filthy perverts. So yeah, I'm going to get into this, and while I do so, let's shout out those awesome people who have already joined, and hopefully, maybe in time for the next video, you'll have joined too, and I can give you a mention. But anyway, let's crack on with it. First up, we've got those kit fans who are Matt Lovey's, JRC Electrical, For the Burbs, Mark C, Wayne Cornish, Mike Cass, Rob Lynn, Tony Arnold and Scott Made a Thing. Then we've got those awesome early birds who are Roberta Grusum, Dean Ball, Sean at Cablesmith Electrical, Wayne's Retro World, Tim Salt, Sorcerer Stan, and then we've got our pair of kit lovers who are the amazing Bella Webster and the awesome StezStixFix. And she's still here, it's our wonderful kit nutter, and that is Becky Boobar. Thank you, Becky, for all your support, and all my other channel members. Oh, and we've got a last minute shout out to Gary Banham, who sent me a coffee via Ko-Fi. If you want to do that, then just go to kofi.com/kitpates and you can get a shout out like this too. Anyway, on with the video. Right, here we go. Man, it looks super clean in here. Wow, I'm actually pretty impressed. So I think this is the twin ASIC model, because the twin ASIC has 2 capacitors here, and the single one has a capacitor there, and 1 down here, I think. Actually looks alright, really. So this is obviously the main board that does all the main things. And then here we've got the soundboard, which does all the sound things. It does all the amplification and things like that, and there's a volume control, and that's the headphone jack. And then this is the power board. Now this is where I'm going to be looking at first, seeing if we can spring it into life by replacing these capacitors. But it doesn't actually look all that bad. It's actually in really good condition. And from the... can you see any capacitors that look a bit... oh, hang on. Maybe here? Yeah. Yeah, definitely a little bit of goo on that one, I think. Maybe a bit of corrosion. But it's not horrendous, so that's good. I was half expecting there to be like a sea of crud, but it actually doesn't look too bad at all. We'll start with the power board and see if changing the capacitors on that makes a blind bit of difference. So we need to undo these white connectors here. And also the speaker connector down here. Okay, well we can move this out of the way for now. We might have to come back to it in a bit, we will see. Right, so I've got to take this sticky guy off, because the battery terminals are connected here and here, and without taking this off you can't actually get the board out. So this power PCB is held in by a screw there and a screw there. Okay, so here's our power board. So we've got 1, 2, 3 capacitors on here. Maybe what we could do, just to see how it's working, is maybe just put some voltage into it and then try seeing what voltages are coming out of it by measuring these output pins here. Might be a good idea. I guess we've got 6 1.5 volt batteries, so 6 times 1.5 is 9. So it runs on 9 volts, and the springy terminal is our negative and this is our positive. What I should do now is look up what voltages we should be expecting from all of these rails here. So what I'll do is I'm going to quickly look for that, and once I have, I'll put it up on the screen and we can see how things compare. Okay, well that's super handy. Retro6 have actually got them on their website where you buy their little kits from. which is one of these. That's really cool. So this first pin here is plus 34 volts. These first 2 pins are 5 volts. The next 3 are ground. And then the 1 second from the gap is 1.28 volts. And then this one here is 9 volts, and it says battery input. I hope this works while it's sort of not under load, because otherwise we won't be able to test the voltages. Well, we could put it back in the board, but don't really want to do that. Right, benchy power supply on to about 9 volts. Go to the ground here. Then touch this one, we should have 34. Oh, don't have anything. Oh, no, we've got millivolts. Okay, let's try this one. Do we get 5 volts? Interesting. It's not actually drawing any amperage, so it might be that this only works when it's under load. Maybe. Okay, well, if we plug it back under load. Okay, so it's drawing current now, which is good. So we should actually see some voltages coming out of here. Whether they're the correct voltages, don't know. Right, okay, so if I go like this, should be our 30. No, doesn't seem to be happy. Right, well, I think we'll start with the simple things first, and we'll just replace the capacitors and see if anything changes, because ultimately it's just undoing 6 solder connections and then redoing 6 solder connections. So let's fire up the old desoldering gun and then put in our replacements. So this large one here is 820 UF at 6.3 volts, and the replacement one is actually 1000 UF at 10 volt. Now the voltage doesn't matter actually, so long as it's not lower than what it is. But it's strange that this one's 1000, but the one that's coming off is 820. But Retro 6 know their beans. I trust them. So anyway, let's get these 3 guys desoldered and yeah, see what happens. Two. Oh, okay. Think I've spotted a problem there. That might be our smoking gun. Right, I think this last one needs a little tap with the soldering iron to get it out. There we go. And a little bit of shmoo on that one as well. There we go. I think we might have just got to this in time. That's certainly looking better, isn't it? Does look a little bit gummy on this side. That might just be flux from manufacturer, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of clean. Okay, so I think that's probably ready for our new capacitors. So basically with these types of capacitors, they're electrolytic? Yeah, electrolytic capacitors. They have a negative and positive side. Now that's denoted on the board by the negative is matched up with the sort of solid fill there. So basically this goes in that way round, like that. So let's get the big boy in. Lovely. So the one with the dirty bottom that came out of there, that is 25 volts, 100 UF. 25 volts, 100 UF, nice. So again, our shorter leg is our negative. And then our third one, which is 35 volts and 22 UF, goes up here. Nearly as good as factory, or something like that. There we go. Not too bad at all. Looks pretty good. Right, shall we see if it makes the Game Gear power on at least? I'm going to do something I never do, and I'm actually wearing a StezStixFix t-shirt today, as you might have noticed. So I'm going to do what Steve does, and I'm going to put this back together and just see if it works. Because that's what Steve does. He does it so well, and quite often it works okay. So I think I need to start having a little bit more faith in myself and trust that something I've repaired should, in theory, work. But because I'm not fully confident in my abilities, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put all the main screws back in. I'll just get this board in place, we'll sandwich it together, and we'll see what happens. And then if it works, that's great. If it doesn't work, then I think it's going to need a whole recap, but I will cover that in a separate video, and I can also talk about my other plans for this, because I think I need your advice. Oh. Oh look. Game there. As I suspected, it needs at least a recap. It might even need a new screen, I don't know. Well, not the result I wanted, but a result I was expecting. So we have sort of cured a bit of a problem with the power board, but obviously the capacitors on the game board itself are shot, and potentially the screen is screwed as well. But that's not the end of the world. Ultimately, I'd like to maybe put it into a custom case, but I'm not going to do that all in the next video. We'll do the capacitor kit first, and we'll see where we're at. So yeah, I think we're going to have a little bit of a project on this one, which I'm actually quite excited for. Yeah, whilst I think it'd be nice to have an unmolested Game Gear, because this isn't in the mintest of conditions, especially externally, I think it could be good to have something a little bit more pimped and maybe a bit more interesting. I don't know. What do you think in the comments? Please let me know. I really think it would be cool to build a custom Game Gear with a new case, new screen, stereo sound, and just sort of bring it into 2024 a little bit. And also, I think it would be good to have a guide for you people at home to do it yourselves as well. So yeah, we have made an improvement. It does seem to work more, but we can't avoid putting in a full cap kit, I don't think. But that's fine, because it's what we do around here. We fix things, mostly. Anyway, I know it's a bit annoying that it's not a full fix, and I'm gonna have to spread it over 2 parts, and that cap kit video is gonna be long anyway. You'll just have to come back for more. You're probably thinking, why didn't you show us you installing the capacitors kit? And that is because it's been a gigantic waste of time. So yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to say. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please make sure you like and subscribe, but for now, it's game over.